Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. What is up, guys? How are you doing? How are you doing? Oh my God. I'm getting everything set up over here. Getting everything set up over here. It has been a wild Christmas season. Is it Christmas anymore if it's like a week long now? I feel like eventually Christmas is just gonna be the entire month of December or whatever. What did I get for Christmas? Well, I don't know. What do you think I got for Christmas? I saw some rumors in the chat about some stuff that I got. Not really. Someone said some Baldos or whatever, which I have not gotten. I'm supposed to be getting one of the vibrating ones, but I haven't gotten it yet, so I don't know. But anyway, no, what I got for Christmas, let's see. It's actually really funny. I got Masters of the Universe Little People. You know the little, like, remember the toys for like babies? The little people toys. If you have not seen this yet, it's not about little people, it's about everything. What they found out is that they can market anything that has ever existed into like a set of 4 or 5 things, and women will buy them like crazy. Like these little people that are babies' toys. They have them with like the Big Lebowski, and they have them with Star Trek characters and Friends and stuff. So I got Masters of the Universe Little People, which is cute, I guess, endearing. I got 4 boxes of Sugar Cookie Toast Crunch cereal. That was delicious. Haven't eaten all of them yet, obviously, but it's just phenomenal. So I got that, and I got a box of Apple Jacks Pop-Tarts. Cool. So it's yeah, I think that's mostly it. Did I get something else? Trying to think. Oh, I got some emotional support French fries too. Other than that, yeah, it's good stuff. I don't ever, like, there's not much to get me for Christmas usually because I kind of don't need anything. Which is but that's the whole rub. So, Lady Raggets gets me these thoughtful little gifts. I love the fucking Sugar Cookie Toast Crunch cereal. It only comes out around Christmas time, and that was good. And the Apple Jacks Pop-Tarts are a real gamble. They're a real gamble because they might be garbage, but I tried them. They're actually really fucking delicious. What did I get Lady Rackets? Let's see. I got her 2 main things. We'll clear that up in a second, but I got her some Nightmare Before Christmas socks, like 15 pairs of socks with Jack and Sally on them. And then I got her, she loves Legos. So I got her the Disney 100. It's like a camera reel with a film thing going down with Disney scenes on it. So I got her one of those too. That was for like opening presents, but I don't know. I've taken her shopping like a lot lately to kind of update and redo her wardrobe. So that's been a massive financial investment, but a pretty good one. A lot of fun there. But it's like I don't want to go pick out a bunch of clothes for her because there are very few articles of clothing you can pick out for women safely. because like they can't have anything like consistency. So you never know how it's going to look or fit or whatever. Like some dresses fit fine, some shirts and pants fit fine, then others don't, even though they're same size. So I've taken her shopping a lot this month, and which is also a gift for me. Always also a gift for me because I get to go and see her try on a whole bunch of stuff, and like she gets to, buy fun stuff. I also bought her a swimsuit, but I kind of just bought these at random, but I'm going to call them Christmas gifts anyway. I bought her a swimsuit and a dress that she's never seen, which was fun. But other than that, I don't know. We don't get each other a lot because we kind of just give each other stuff all the time. We got the kids a bunch of shit, but mainly the kids got a new TV. The TV that they had for video games and stuff downstairs is like 15 years old. Doesn't have any smart TV features, and they could use the one that's upstairs as well. But if one kid's watching one thing, everybody else is suffering at the mercy of them. So that's going to get hooked up the next couple days here. We'll figure it out. I did see Joe Good Logic. Welcome. Thanks for a rating, buddy. How you doing, my man? But TZ Burton says women's clothing stores should have a sports lounge for men. Yes, I've only been to one properly done women's clothing store, and it was called a Pea in the Pod or Peas in the Pod or whatever. It was a maternity clothing store in the Mall of America. I don't know if it's still there. I assume it is, but in it had all the women's clothing, and then it had this section, this rectangle. In the middle of the rectangle were opposing TV screens, right? Like, so one was facing this way, one was facing that way. And the one facing the other way was playing kids show bullshit and had like a bunch of Duplo blocks and stuff for little toddlers to run around. And the other side were these nice leather couches, and football was on. So you could go and just sit down, and while your pregnant wife walked around and like held her belly or whatever and tried on clothes, and you're like, oh God, it's horrible. You could just sit and watch football, and they would bring you water and juice and stuff for free. They're like, here, have a Gatorade. I'm like, yes, I'm playing sports too. It was awesome. That's actually my favorite clothes shopping store to go to for a long time. But now it's anyone that lets me go into the dressing room and help her. Those are my favorite now. But it's I know it kind of sucks because like I'm old, man. I don't want to. I hate going. If she's going to try on like 15 things, I don't want to be standing. Why isn't there just a chair? All you need is a damn chair. Like, I don't need much. I'm Spartan or whatever. Just give me a fucking chair to sit down on so I can sit down while she goes and tries on stuff. Preferably have the chair like right in front of the dressing room so she can open the door and do this number like, how does this look? And then go back in. Like, that's all I want in the world. It's Nick wants to F in the dressing room. No, not really, actually. Believe me, I'm not shy about anything, but that is not the kind of experience that I would want. That'd be awkward as fuck. All right, guys. We're gonna get to the show in a minute and everything. Oh, I'll get back to the. Is there any other Christmas stuff I want to talk about? We'll probably talk about more in a little bit. Tonight's show is going to be pretty laid back, but we do have some serious topics that need to be discussed. One of them being this whiskey review. This whiskey review is on something I've never had. Barrel Proof Elijah Craig, which is 124.2 proof. This is an 11-year, 5-month-old Scotch. 62.1% alcohol, baby. So, Haven King says fucking in the dressing room is legal, though. I doubt it. There's usually like an indecent, it wouldn't be indecent exposure, but like an indecent acts or something statute that prevents, you're typically not allowed to have sex in any sort of space where the activity is identifiable or recognizable. So, but I mean, it's going to depend state by state, but I think a lot of the times they'll just tell you to get the fuck out of the store. So this is batch number B523 for Garrett Pace, who asked. B523 is the batch. So never had it. We're going to try it in a little bit. That's going to be great. Um, but yeah, so for us, I mean, Christmas is mostly about the kids, getting them, getting them stuff. We try to do more, try to get less stuff. Well, we try to, and we kind of fail every year, but we try to get less stuff for the kids that's going to stick around. Consumable stuff is great, but really it's about like experiences are better, in our opinion. Last year, we promised the kids we would take them to Legoland, which we ended up doing. Was that August? I think it was August. We did Legoland in Florida, and that was really good. This year we didn't do one of the experience things because they've traveled a lot and gotten to do some fun stuff. So the TV's the big one, then they each got their own sort of stuff as well. But let's see. Jay Corman, you had this last night with Batch. I heard B is the best one. It's B523. So I guess it's B. But yeah, so we tend to do that. This year we did Christmas a little different, which is why the show schedule was way different than it has been. But we did Christmas with the kids. It's basically the entirety of Christmas Eve was our family Christmas. And then Christmas Day, we ended up going to my in-laws, Lady Raggett's parents' house with the kids, and to start. And then we got to spend Christmas evening together. And we went and we just had an overnight at a hotel. It was really nice. And had some nice food and some good times, and then came back today, grabbed the kids. And then tomorrow is actually our last day of Christmas because we haven't done their stockings yet because we didn't want to do stockings on Christmas Eve. We were going to do them Christmas morning, but we got behind. So now they'll do them tomorrow. But yeah, it's Christmas is stressful, man. Well, when I don't know, I guess for me, because we have the 5 kids, the 2 families, and it's like you're always trying to balance schedules, and you're trying to balance, I guess, what you get the kids. And again, Lady Raggets is super organized and stuff, but she's also insane in the best ways. But some of those ways that manifest are like trying to get the kids an equal value of everything, as if they check the prices on stuff, and or an equal number of things. And she likes to buy sets of 5 with little characteristics that represent each kid whenever they pop up. So it's like you get a lot of this little stuff, and like finding those things or completing out sets and doing that just becomes this massive chore. But I gotta say, despite all of the stress that we had around it, we have had way, way worse years. And we were all done before Christmas Eve, actually, with all of our shopping and everything. We had most things wrapped and ready to go. No, I finished at like 6 a.m. on Christmas Eve. I finished wrapping all the stuff. And so then Christmas Eve went off and was great. We got to do that. It ended up being one of the less stressful years once everything was done. The running has been rather tame. And like I said, kind of splitting up Christmas Day and spending a large amount of it, just me and her, after we had spent basically a day and a half with the kids just doing Christmas, was really, really nice. It was like a nice wind down to do that overnight and just have that, breathe out time. But also now I'm exceedingly exhausted because we were out walking around and doing stuff, and my knee hurts. I'm like, fuck, now I am old as shit. But it's great. Oh, I just reflexively took a sip of this. I forgot I was doing a whiskey review. So anyway, that's enough Christmas bullshit. Let's talk about this. So we're going to do the whiskey review, which will start right before the first topic. Then it will carry on kind of through the show. The main topics we have for tonight, the main 3, there's another one depending on time, is Google being a bro on the 4th Amendment. Google has made a huge move to be an absolute bro on the 4th Amendment for us, to say fuck you to law enforcement. Contrarian 420 says, "Lols, Lady Raga spent 25K on presents, didn't she?" No, actually, she didn't spend a ton on presents. Other years has been way, way worse, way, way worse than that. But no, this year the spending was relatively tame, but it was a lot of little things, so it just ended up being a lot of wrapping. But no, it wasn't bad. Nick decided to go Argith to the last, right to the last minute for wrapping. Got to respect his work ethic. Dude, I do that every year. I'm usually the one who ends up wrapping the presents because my mom taught me how to wrap presents when I was little, and she's got a really good method. And I do it kind of fast. And Lady Ragus gets really tired of it. So that's just how it goes. All right. So yes, Google made a big move on the Fourth Amendment we're going to talk about, which is really cool. We want to see more of this shit. And this is in a way related to a story we just had about the pharmacy companies spilling the beans to the government about your prescription status, which is nice. Then we've got this thing I've been noticing in the news that I want to talk about a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. This is universal basic income propaganda. I don't know if you guys have seen this around, but I've seen, wait, we got to do a review. I've seen this around a lot. I'm starting to see these articles like this urban area did a 7-month-long experiment and they gave $500 to the homeless. And what they found out was they all became Fortune 500 CEOs and everything was magical. And it's like, well, here it comes. Here comes the push for universal basic income. That is coming, and it's coming hard and fast. So we're going to talk about that. And then Project Veritas just lost a motion to dismiss a case. Well, Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, even though they're separate entities, are both included in this, lost a motion to dismiss, or I don't know if it was to dismiss the case, but to suppress the evidence subpoena, or to quash a subpoena on First Amendment grounds based on journalism related to the quote unquote theft of Joe Biden's daughter's diary. And so now they have the option to appeal, or they're going to have to turn over a whole bunch of documents in response to the subpoena. So we are going to talk through that a little bit as well, because that's kind of interesting. I think the judge, I really just want to say the judge got it wrong, but I'm not 100% sure they did. But they should be wrong. They should be wrong. So we'll talk about that one as well. And then I have another story about Alabama transgender care being banned for minors, which why can't a state do that? I don't know. It's kind of weird in the context of everything they can do with medicine. Why they can't ban certain care is kind of strange, but that was being challenged. And a judge has allowed the transgender care for minors to continue in Alabama as the lawsuit progresses. So we may get to that topic, but that's what we got for today. I don't expect tonight's show to go super duper long, because, well, there's some chilled out topics. It's late. It's post Christmas. I know everybody's kind of tired. And the other thing I want to definitely do is get a locals live stream in right after this, and we'll carry on via locals, and we'll have a good time. So when I say it's not going to be too long, it's still going to be 2.5, 3 hours, I think. I don't see it going shorter than that. But and then, yeah, you never know. So 5 hours later, literally possible. Who knows? But trying not to do that. But then I want to set some expectations for this week. I think tomorrow, Ty Beard and I will do our traditional Christmas stream. It'll be a little bit, it'll be more focused on, well, I don't know if we didn't do the Christmas Eve stream the way we normally do, the Christmas Eve. We didn't do it the way we normally do the Christmas stream. So we might, but we kind of have to. So we might split it half and half, but it's going to be 2 days after Christmas at that point. And so I might want to throw in some real topics and stuff for Ty, but we're gonna have a nice chill stream. We might bring on another person too. Just talk about, again, I do think there is something to this idea of Christmas being holy in the definition of it being set apart from other days and from other seasons and activities. And I do think there is something special about spending time with people who deserve your time and are worthy of your time and attention, and giving a little bit extra of it to them. And in the context of being a husband and being a dad, it is a really great thing, and this great opportunity to do so. And it's a great reminder of ways that you can do it, even though most of those ways are really fucking annoying and you don't want to do them. Like you don't want to go out and buy kids all these damn gifts, especially when you like step on Legos or whatever. You're like, you don't want to do it, but taking the time to do that and to spend time with those people is really important. So we'll probably be talking about gay stuff like that a little bit, but we might grab another, subject or two and talk through some serious stuff as well. But you thought I wasn't religious anymore? No, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I have never in my life not been a Christian. I said I don't usually, there's a lot of people would say I'm not a good Christian, because I have a lot of criticisms of the church and church doctrines. I think they get a whole shitload wrong. But hey, I mean, so does everybody in the long run. They just may not think about it. But yeah, no, I've never not been a believer in the Christian God or Jesus or anything like that. I just think churches have a lot of convenient things that kind of go towards the benefit of the church a lot more than the benefit of the people. So you don't even believe Jesus is God, though. Says who? I don't know where you come up with this stuff. I have an idea. See, I talked about approaching certain biblical stories from a critical literary theory perspective, and what that does. This does not need to be a fucking Bible stream, but what it does to approach stories in the Bible as if some sort of expectation. If you're doing it theologically, use a hermeneutic. If you're doing it from a literary aspect, it's critical theory. And you just say, hey, what if this story starts with this premise behind it and we read it? Does that change the truth of it? Does it change the meaning? Does it change the validity of God? How might this impact how we perceive God accomplishes a task? And I think in one stream, one time, maybe it was two, I don't know, I've talked about this potential way to explain the birth of Jesus in biological means rather than spiritually, miraculous means. That doesn't necessarily mean I believe this. The question is, if you read the Bible in this way, if you try and strip out the mysticism of it and just go with, can this be explained by science, or what do you want to do here? How could this have happened in another way? Does it invalidate the story? Does it validate it? Does it change the meaning? I've talked about doing that I think it's a really useful exercise, but that's my just general way of approaching literature. And the Bible is this great piece of literature when you get down to it. So I've done this with tons and tons of Bible stories. It doesn't mean I don't necessarily believe them. It just means if they have to happen in one particular way and don't, does it change the meaning and definition? Does it change your belief? What does it mean about God and Christ and all of this shit that people believe? That doesn't mean I don't believe any of that stuff. It just means here's how you explore through a topic or a question. And if people can't do that, if you can't build a layer of abstraction between your preconceptions and your ability to discern what you're ingesting, then I don't think you're actually exploring anything at all. But I don't know. That's how I've always kind of approached things. And then, as I was educated through a shitty writing program and then a shitty law program, you have to kind of do this stuff as well. Like you have to read it in different ways to try and figure out what the fuck is going on. But it's it's not even indicative of what your what your actual beliefs are. You might start with a premise that is completely ridiculous. But hey, I don't know. So that's what I don't know if that's what people have gathered, but those questions actually do end up getting you in trouble. in churches all the time. And I know Peter Klein says, I was LARPing as a trad Christian, then dropped the mask when drunk. No, literally never LARPed as a trad Christian because I haven't been a trad Christian in a long time. People decided I was a trad Christian because I had 5 kids and I'd been married a long time. And I'm a Christian. But a trad one? No, probably not. I'm kind of fucking heathen a lot of times. But none of that matters because it is what it is. But no, I've always been a Christian. I say mostly tongue in cheek that I'm kind of a bad one because I ask questions about stuff that makes churchgoers uncomfortable. That's okay. They do shit that makes me uncomfortable. So, like fingering buttholes. Brill says, we had to put down one of our dogs today. My wife and I have been alternating between crying and laughing all day. Could you toast to Phoenix? A few pics and the story for people. I'll share the link for people to check out. Maybe I should make sure this link is okay. Just in case. You never know. Aw. Okay, that's a real link. That made me sad. So here you go. I'll share these. This is sent on Rumble. So I'll pop this on here. Yeah, Cedar Rose, I agree with you about that, but a lot of people don't agree with us on that topic. So that's that. But yes, a toast to what? Phoenix. A toast to Phoenix, a good boy to the end. Had to be put down, and when a dog has to be put down by its owner, you know, the dog goes with a level of trust to that owner, level of loyalty and respect that they've built up through their lives. And when Phoenix went there, you know, the owner felt sorrow for what was going on. The owner felt the pain and loss that was about to happen. But for Phoenix, it was the daily trust that what was happening next was going to be good for Phoenix. And in the end, you know, the termination of pain and suffering at some point, you know, outdoes the continuance of care. It's Phoenix's trust and his owner was well placed. His pain and suffering is gone. But his hopefulness that what was happening was right never faltered. Cheers to Phoenix. Cheers to Beals. Sorry you lost one, buddy. All right. All right, here we go. Let's go. Brandon says, Dear Nick, drink and let MG Law redirect you. Stay straight. Oh, is he not able to? The YouTube redirect system is garbage. You have to like go in and decide who can redirect you. Let's see. Oh, shit. I don't even have, I have to go back. I have to do it somewhere else. I hate that. It's not like Twitch where you can just, you know, raid people or whatever. He also says, let's go. Brand says, while we're at it, let's throw up a toast for the wife surviving the first Christmas of many firsts without her father. Oh, fuck me. Telesco, Brandon's wife. A cheers to your wife. A cheers to her new experiences without a father, which tells me something about her relationship with him and that it was good and beneficial and grounded. And his loss will be something that she will feel for many, many more firsts to come. But each one of those will bring back fond memories of what he would have done had he been there, how he would have felt, and the good joy that their relationship brought. Cheers to her. Cheers to him. All right. Okay. Let's all right, let's do this whiskey review, even though I drank some. Let me give the old palate a cleanse. We'll do that. Nick, if you want to get mad, check out Yellow Flash's Christmas ranking of movies. Very controversial. Fuck. Damn it, Flash. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right. So this is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 1789 Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is an 11-year, 5-month aged bourbon whiskey. It's uncut, straight from the barrel. Batch B, as in bitch, 523. And it is 124.2 proof for 62.1% alcohol by volume. There is no literature on the bottle. There's no story. There's nothing. It's a very basic bottle. Just that info and a fucking government warning. You know why? Because it's Elijah Craig. They're like, you know us. You know us. So we're going to take a sip of this. I've been taking a couple of sips, but I haven't thought about it. How much did it cost? I think it was like $70. Not an overpriced bottle, not an underpriced bottle either. Elephant, that is very wrong. I've had plenty of liquor that I have not liked. One of them is right here. This is god awful. The Shibu single grain Japanese rice whiskey. Fuck this. Terrible. All right. Okay, so this is very alcohol-y, as you can imagine. Oh, gosh. It is like breathing in I don't know, rubbing alcohol, basically. That's got a burn to it. All over the tongue. If you let it sit in your mouth, it cooks. I like to, oh, Jesus. I've been taking small sips and just kind of swallowing them. This, I do this process of letting it rest and kind of roll around your tongue and stuff. That is, that's like fucking cooking your tongue. That is a very harsh whiskey. And I've had other 60% whiskeys that are not this brutal. So there's something else going on there. It tastes good. What you can taste after that, it is a very, very strong burn. Not a good tingle. Like the Kentucky Owl Rye is a really nice tingle that's kind of interactive in your mouth. This is straight fucking fire. And my tongue is sore from that. So pretty good, but geez, God, it's a little burny. But I'm a professional, and higher alcohol content whiskeys don't bother me that much. They're not always pleasant, but for some people, this would probably, like, you would hate this if you're not someone who is kind of used to drinking those higher alcohol whiskeys. Remember, each glass of this is basically a glass and a half of the standard sort of 80 proof whiskeys you're normal. Whiskeys you're used to. It's just fucking fire. Like, it is bourbon, but barely. It's bourbon that's been lit on fire like a fucking Japanese village in 1943. Fuck. Oh, Jesus. Just born Jesus, that was hot. Blech. Blech. Wow. But if you drink that constantly, you won't have any cavities because you'll die. So that's good. Oh, I'm not the biggest fan of this stuff. I'm going to say it. I usually am. I'm not the biggest fan of this. That's just a little too heated for me. So, but yeah. All right. Okay. Let's move into this first topic here, which is I'm really fucking happy about this. Gooey no. Whoop. Wrong, wrong button. Let's go. Let's go. You're a dangerous man tonight. Are we doing this? I'll do, at some point I'll cut myself off. Or at least I'll say I will. But let's do some, if we're doing this, I'll do a little drinking with you, buddy. It's after Christmas. I mean, what can I say? How much damage can be done? All right. So let's preface this story with a little understanding of the Fourth Amendment. Your Fourth Amendment is your freedom from unreasonable search and seizures. And then there's a warrant requirement to those searches and seizures, which is effectively a seizure. A search or a seizure is presumed unreasonable absent a warrant. And so then you have to get to reasonableness in some other way. Usually one of the named exceptions to the warrant requirement. But, there is this presumption of unreasonableness. Now, what that means is that to have Fourth Amendment protection, though, you have to have a privacy interest in what is being protected. The Fourth Amendment says in a person's home affects persons, property, papers, something like that, which is expanded to mean quite a bit. The problem is how the Supreme Court has defined and determined a privacy interest. A legitimate interest in privacy is a quote unquote reasonable expectation of privacy between two parties. Now, where this gets very confusing is that when you give information to a third party, say an intermediary in a business transaction, and they keep that information as part of a business record, you have no privacy interest in it. Where this first started cropping up was in phone calls, not the phone call contents, but the numbers dialed. You doot, 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 and then some weirdo chick grabs a plug on a switchboard and plugs it somewhere else. And there was a physical connection. Well, the phone companies would keep the numbers that were called at various times and stuff for their legitimate business purpose. They would keep a record of what numbers called what numbers. They wanted to know when people were calling other people in regional sort of ways so they can manage traffic, have good staffing, make sure the lines are sufficient to support what's going on. Reasonable business purpose, right? Well, the government determined through the Supreme Court that if that information was kept, you didn't need a warrant to collect that information. You just ask the company and the company can just comply or not. And if they just comply, no illegal search was done. You have no privacy interest in it. This got expanded to things like banks, which kind of weirded people out because you think of your financial information that's held by a bank as private. And it is, but not to the government. And you have no expectation of privacy because you told the bank. How can you want something to be private if you tell the bank what it is? And like, for example, you write a check to your drug cartel. Well, whoever you wrote the check to, the account from, the account destination, all that stuff, that's all going to be recorded by the bank for its own purposes. They have to know where they've sent money. Maybe there's some reason that they would have to recall the money, cancel a check, etc. So they have to keep those records. Well, if those records exist, the government gets to ask for them without a warrant. We've seen this with other stuff, email, messaging services, etc. There's no warrant requirement on a lot of this stuff because there is no privacy interest if Facebook is reading your message to gather information for their advertising algorithm. How could there be? Now, does the government often get warrants on these things? Yes, they do. Do they have to is a question. The answer is always maybe. Oh, wait, let's go, Brandon. Here's the drink there, buddy. So with that, you have to understand where this story starts. Okay, Brandon. Thanks, pal. See how this goes. You have to understand where this story starts. This story starts with Google Maps. Google Maps obviously is a location and navigation service that collects a lot of data from a lot of people. And that data is very, very useful. Now, one thing with Google Maps is this server-side long-term storage of individual user data. And it had to do with how they basically database collected their map usage information. Now, this map usage information is to determine all sorts of things like detours that are being taken, road construction, speed traps, all the, where there's an accident, predictive timing on the GPS. They get to crowdsource in real time cars and how long it will take them going a certain speed to get from point A to point B, including where you're going. And then, they can use it even on individual segments of road and put that all together very quickly, but they have to store that information, collate it, and process it in a way that becomes usable for the map. So they kept this information for a long time. Now, what the government was able to do is go to Google with a bulk data request and say, hey, we want all of your metadata for Google Maps from this geographical area in a given time frame. And Google would provide it. They'd say, okay, here you go. Now, what the cops would do then is they would take that information and they would try to backwards engineer some evidence about someone who is in the proximity of a suspected crime, and then try to then utilize that information as a way to either generate a specter of guilt for someone or find a suspect or confirm a suspect. Now, this information alone was not enough to act on. They could not get the fact that someone was in this area at a specific time and then utilize that as probable cause. But they could use this information to generate more data to track down quote unquote alleged criminals. But that also means, and I know what people's initial reaction that sometimes is. They're like, oh, that's good though. We want to find criminals. And if cops can do this thing where they just get a whole bunch of data on something and they're able to connect the dots, then they can go find the bad guy, right? That's kind of a lot of people's initial reaction, but hear me out. That then sweeps up a bunch of other people who were not criminals. That's the problem, right? Is not that the criminal is getting picked up in this data, but that thousands of other people are being picked up in this data when they didn't do anything and the cops have no reason to do it. No reason to look into it. No reason to find anything. Like, what if you're just at your hoe's house, right? If you're just at your hoe's house and the cops like pick it up because there's you're in Detroit. And so they just scan the whole area and look for all the people there. Like, what if you're just at your hoe's house? Well, now your hoe gets exposed by the police or to the police, and then she's no longer your side chick. She's Sergeant Duffy's or whatever, right? So Google is changing that feature, and this is really, really big for Fourth Amendment stuff. John Jelaine says, code red, 20 Canuck bucks, yellow at 10 was weak. Thanks. All right, Google just killed warrants that give police access to location data, not warrants. Although this is actually a crazy thing as well. They do also fuck up the warrant information. They do also fuck up warrant information. And here's the best part. If a company doesn't keep the info, they can't be required to produce it. And why more companies, specifically tech companies, are not finding ways to circumvent that on behalf of their users is really crazy. One of the very big stories about this type of activity was after the Edward Snowden leaks. There's a secured end-to-end or encrypted email service called LavaBit that I believe Edward Snowden used, and the FBI, I think it was, or maybe it was NSA. They subpoenaed the LavaBit CEO to provide access to the encryption keys because LavaBit's servers stored copies of those encrypted communications. Now, the theory is that LavaBit would not be accessing the encryption or the encrypted communications, even though they'd pass through the store servers, and that information would be stored for whatever reason. It was stored, however, and because it was stored, the government was able to get access to it. They subpoenaed the LavaBit CEO for the encryption keys under penalty of like $5,000 a day in fines that he didn't put them up. Now he did something funny and he printed off a 256-bit encryption key at like 8-point font, which is just a massive amount of characters. And he printed it off and he gave it to them in a physical copy. The judge didn't like that though and demanded that he provide a software copy of the encryption key that the government could actually use. And so LavaBit was this learning experience for this encrypted communication. And you'll find that good encrypted communication services do not actually store the end-to-end encrypted messages. All they do is provide a funnel or not a funnel, but a tunnel, I guess, a pathway for the data to travel from one place to the other. They just make the peer-to-peer connection and don't hold it on the server itself. And in that way, the only users with the encryption keys are each end user. And there is no middleman, there is no data stored, and nothing can be done to quote unquote backdoor that shit. Because it's the feds, they love to backdoor everything. So that is a way to that now we use to eliminate the ability of police and federal agencies to get this data by just not having it. And that is really critical. This is the key way that third-party companies or private companies should be dealing with consumer data as much as possible. They don't need to store this stuff. Just because we happen to use their service doesn't mean that we want all of our information given to the police. And I know it seems weird because you're like, I don't have anything to hide from the cops or the government. But you might, though. And if you might not have something to hide now, the information that they collect on you now might be associated with something you would want to hide from in the future. For example, let's say you're a member of the Proud Boys prior to January 6th, right? Like you're like, oh, I like cereal and not masturbating, so I'm going to be a member of the Proud Boys or whatever. Like, this is a fun social club. Everybody has a same haircut or and we lift and we get trad wives or something. I don't know. What do the Proud Boys do? But that's your thing. And so you start going to these events or whatever. And then all of a sudden, all of these events get this geolocation tagging through Google Maps or whatever. And then January 6th happens. And now all these Proud Boys guys are in the same place, a week and a half earlier that the FBI finds out about. And so they run this check through Google Maps, and Google Maps provides a list of cell phone that access the network there, and you're on it. Right? You're like, I didn't have anything to hide. I was just going to a meeting with other guys like to punch each other in the face, not jerk off, and name some cereal. And then all of a sudden you're on a government list as a terrorist. Well, that's different, right? That's a different thing. Everything was fine, but the government tracking your location without your consent, using a third party and without needing a warrant and any notice to you, now they've placed you adjacent to other people who you may not even be associated with, which is kind of wild. What if you go to a church and your pastor says something about faggots burning in hell or something like that, right? Like Westboro Baptist. What if that happens at your church? It's a church you go to and you're like, hey, I don't want them to burn in hell. Like, I just want them to simmer for a while, right? Until they like vaginas again. Like, what if that? And so now you're like, oh my God. And then this thing suddenly is on the news, and then the government leaks a list of people that have attended this church and the dates they attended it and their car license plates or whatever they do. The whole point of this is the government should not have us in a massive digital surveillance state waiting to pounce on any social issue that might become the nom de plume, right? Of the fucking year. Because once that happens and you're associated with it, you may not even get criminal charges. But if the government has the information and it gets FOIA'd by CNN and then just all the names of those people are published, and you're like, well, I don't even dislike gay people. They go great in soup or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're the bad guy. You're like, I'm just trying to eat. What do you do then? How do you deal with that? You may have nothing to hide today, but the data they collect may be something you'd want to hide for in the future. So that's the thing to consider as to why this is important here. But this is really simple, though. If these companies just don't store the data, then the government can't get it. And they can't get it from their massive requests, and they can't get it from warrant requests either. I need to look up nom de plume. Yeah, probably. What am I, French? Geofence warrants, which allow law enforcement to get location data across a wide area, become commonplace in recent years. So here we go. On Wednesday, Google announced it would soon change the way it would store and access users' opt-in location history in Google Maps, making the data retention period shorter, making it impossible for the company to access it. That means it will no longer respond to, quote, geofence warrants, controversial legal tool used by local and federal authorities to force Google to hand over information about all users within a given location during a specific time frame. Because geofence warrants, also known as reverse location searches, have the potential to implicate anyone who happens to be in the vicinity of a crime, Google's decision to end access to location data is a major win for privacy advocates and criminal defense attorneys who've long decried these warrants. Now, and again, this is amazing because, so they're talking about this in warrant specific terms. The requirement to get a warrant is an affidavit, an oath or affirmation by a law enforcement official that there's probable cause to suggest that evidence of a specific crime will be found in the location they are looking. Well, evidence is broad, right? So if you say a crime happened in this area at approximately this time, if you do a geofence warrant for that area, maybe like a reasonable surrounding area, mile, 2 miles, who knows, in that time frame, and you say, is it probable that you will find evidence of some sort of criminal activity, of this specific criminal activity in there? Yes, of course it is. You'll find the location of someone. You may not know who it is, but you will find that location. It can be corroborated by other information or whatever, and that's what they're going for here. So this is an easy warrant to get because you didn't have to explain how you would determine how you would find specific evidence of a specific person. That's not the requirement. And since Google isn't going to be the criminals here, they don't care about fighting the warrant. They'll just do it. So the company confirmed the impact of the change to Forbes. A current Google employee who is not authorized to speak publicly told Forbes that along with obvious privacy benefits of encrypting location data, Google made the move to explicitly bring an end to such dragnet location searches. The repository of everyone's location data dating back months or years was a hazard, and Google is trying to clean up that hazard. Jennifer Granick, an attorney with the American Civil Liberties Union, told Forbes. That is a real benefit for people's privacy, for people's locations over time, which is some of the most revealing information about us. Now, whoops. The interesting thing is, I love how this is worded, but you don't have privacy in your location data if you're in a public place. I think you should. And I know, like, maybe they're not in a public place. Maybe it's a private place. Well, okay, all of the data leading up to the arrival and leading away from the, from leaving, that's all still public. If that happens on public roads, it's still public. So the government can track this information with very little impact on your Fourth Amendment rights. You don't have a privacy interest on your presence on a public road. Legal Vices says, let's go. Brandon kills right to self-determination and good judgment on YouTube. He does. And he dropped a very large super chat that says, we can consider it poor for Poor's Hour. I'll get a beer to stave off the chat. Shit. He also says, oh, so now the state is preventing you from drinking. Keep pace. Let's go. Brandon's brutal. He's brutal. PhD Phil. Oh, I did miss this one earlier. We'll hit this in right now. Wait, the drink. Let's go, Brandon. You're going to make people mad. PhD Phil. Nick, your depth trial coverage was awesome. The Star Witness Rocks video is one of the last videos I shared with my old man before he passed. I'll cherish us laughing together at that video together forever. Thank you for that. Oh, dude. Damn it. Stop being sweet. Stop being sweet, or I'm going to start calling you by women's names. Oh, my God. Thanks, brother. Look, again, the unintentional ability to reach into people's lives in this really special way, like to get that to be this last type of a type of experience this guy had with his dad is like, I was just laughing at a retard or whatever and having a good time. Here it is. So that's cool. Thank you. Thanks, man. I'm glad to be a part of that. Thanks for sharing. Also, gay. Okay. Back to this story here. Armed with facts about a criminal indictment or incident and the vast location history data and associated device data from a geofence warrant, investigators would try to identify a suspect who might have committed a crime. These warrants are dangerous, wrote Jennifer Lynch, an attorney for the EFF, in a Wednesday blog post. They threaten privacy and liberty because they not only provide police with sensitive data on individuals, they could turn innocent people into suspects. The change doesn't prevent the government from getting information on a specific user by demanding their full account details. Google employee said, but investigators can no longer hand over some coordinates and a time frame and compel Google to give it either identifying data or metadata on all users within those parameters. The move comes just days after the very first federal appellate court, the U.S. Court of Appeals of the Fourth Circuit in Virginia, heard oral arguments in a case called U.S. v. Chattree, where it was asked to evaluate the fundamental legality of geofence warrants. Court's ruling, which only would cover 5 states, largely along the eastern seaboard, will likely not come until next year. Good news from Google. I never thought I'd say that, said Michael Price, one of Chattree's lawyers and litigation director for the Fourth Amendment Center at the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. From a practical perspective, judges are often concerned about taking a tool away from law enforcement. This is a big problem from judges. Don't be concerned about that. They have donuts. But here that decision has just been made and may lower the stakes in some respects for finding it unconstitutional. Now, see, this is the thing. The decision was made, but it was made by Google, not by judges. Judges do have this problem that he's talking about. They're talking about. It's the fact that if you have a bunch of drugs on a table, it's really hard to tell people that you can't arrest the drug dealer, right? That's a tough fucking thing for a judge to do. So they like to keep the tools on the table, but it's like that. It's a bad tool. It goes against the Fourth Amendment. No, well, it doesn't. Why? Because the Supreme Court made it up. Anyway, here we go. PG Phil says, almost spit out my bourbon with that gay remark. Well, cheers to you, buddy. At least we know you don't spit, you swallow. Let's go. Brandon says, what Jeff meant was you're a few sniff turns behind. Drink and don't sniff kids like Biden. Oh, this one's only 11 years, 5 months old, or whatever. When I was growing up in Scranton, I was a young 47 years old, and I sniffed a Negro child. That was a quote from Joe Biden. That was a quote from Joe Biden. Direct quote. He said that. So earlier this year, a California state legislator proposed a bill that would have outlawed the practice for California-based companies, notably Google, to comply with such court orders. The bill did not advance in the state house. Yeah, I don't know that the legislature could make it illegal to comply with a court order, but okay. Now in one fell swoop, Google is now largely taking the decision out of future judges' hands, and that it should not be in judges' hands. Google doesn't typically break down how many geofence warrants it receives, so it broke with tradition in 2021, revealing that more than 25% of the warrant requests it had received in the United States at the time were reverse location warrants. Guys, think about this. A quarter of all warrants that Google received were these geofence warrants. A quarter of all warrants. That means every fucking divorce or... that's a subpoena. It means any criminal activity ever where they look for phone data through a Google Fi service or an Android service, where they look for email information from Gmail, calendar information from Google Calendars, mapping information from Google Maps, of course, access to Google Drives, YouTube playlists, YouTube comments, YouTube, any Google Plus messaging, any of those things. A fucking quarter of them were these reverse warrant searches, which wouldn't have a specific target in mind. That's crazy. That is crazy. Legal Vices says, let's go, Brandon. Yeah, pretty much that is what I mean. By the way, big Merry Christmas to Legal Vices. One of the most genuine dudes I've met in this business, and I've loved that beautiful short Korean man from the very first day that I met him. Thanks, Jeff. Merry Christmas, buddy. The volume of geofence warrants received by Google tripled from the end of 2018 to the end of 2019, reaching 3,000 warrants in a single quarter. As Forbes had previously reported, practically all geofence warrants are targeted at Google, given its vast amount of search and location data, while other tech firms could theoretically be served with similar warrants. Public court records nearly always point to a data request from Google over other companies. While it may receive more geofence demands than any other tech company, it isn't the only tech giant being told to respond to them. Apple said earlier this year to receive such geofence requests, but could not provide the data because of the way it protects user locations. Such warrants have been used in some of the most significant law enforcement cases in recent memory. They used to identify those who stormed Capitol Hill on January 6th, to identify individuals involved in the Kenosha riots of 2020. Wait, which one? What individuals were involved in the Kenosha riots of 2020 that geofence warrants found? Let's see what it says. Google Dragnets harvested phone data across 13 Kenosha protest acts of arson. Wonder how many of those resulted in a charge. Kimbo Nice says Google Plus was discontinued a long time ago, you pleb. Not for Google employees. Wow. Were all made last year by Bureau of ATF. Investigation of arson attacks that took place, which erupted after the shooting of Jacob Blake. Yeah, how many were arrested for arson and charged? I don't think any. Did you guys hear about any people getting charged for the Kenosha riots? Why do you use that stupid shaped glass? Because it says Ricada Law on it. It makes me feel good. It's supposed to enhance the sniffing aspect. I don't know. Oh, Ethan Flash. We're going to check that out in a minute. Thank you. This is Flash did a tier list of, oh my God. He did a tier list of Christmas movies. So here, Forbes learned last year that law enforcement were raiding historical Google location data going back 7 years in one case where cops were trying to gather evidence to send 2 men to death row. What? Geofence warrants have also reportedly been used to investigate relatively minor crimes, such as a wallet stolen from a Utah hospital. California District Attorneys Association, a state-level group that has previously opposed new restrictions on geofence warrants, noted that in 2022, sheriff's deputies in Santa Clara County used a technique to solve 9 separate residential burglaries. 9 whole burglaries in Santa Clara County. Similarly, Orrin Kerr, a law professor at the University of California, Berkeley, wrote on X on Wednesday that from a public policy standpoint, that seems like a bummer. Geofencing has solved a bunch of really major cases that we otherwise totally could, or that were otherwise totally cold, he wrote. You know what? Fuck this guy. What this guy's like, it sucks that the government can't oppress. Hold on. Orrin Kerr. Oh, am I blocked? Where's this fucking loser? No, here we go. Law professor at California, Berkeley. Oh, he looks like he's a law professor there. Ew. He doesn't have any pride flags around his dick yet. Country's foremost scholars of the Fourth Amendment and criminal procedure. He helped found the field of computer crime law, which studies how traditional legal doctrines must adapt to digital crime and evidence. This guy sucks. Anyway, I don't like him. Geofencing, yeah, and there are lots of ways of doing the legal process, including Google's warrant policy, although that's just one way, that are a lot more privacy protective than ordinary warrants, but I can see why this might be in Google's business interest. There isn't a lot of economic value to Google in keeping the data, and having it means you need to get embroiled in privacy debates over what you do with it. Better for Google to drop it. This guy's a fucking simp for government. Okay, here we go. We're done with this shit. What a fucking terrible law professor with a terrible perspective. The long and short is Google is eliminating their ability to respond for requests for search, which is good. Good. Fuck the government and their requests. Why is this hard? Why do people have trouble with this? Lesko, I drank from every one of your requests so far. What's he talking about? I just don't get this. I don't get this slavish simpery for the government where we're like, oh, well, we really want them to catch criminals. Well, no, not really. Not really at all. Like, I want the government to prosecute criminals, right? Like I do. I don't want the government to abuse and stomp all over privacy protections just because I want criminals punished. I want my constitutional rights. I want those more than any privacy. Or more than any I want my constitutional rights more than I want the government to crack down on a burglary or a wallet theft or whatever. It's kind of a problem for me. I just don't, I don't know. I have this such an inherent distrust of government, and they fuck this shit up so many times. It's like, why are we giving them any credibility here that they won't abuse everything? They do abuse everything all the time. I don't want them to catch a couple criminals and at the same time sweep up everybody else in the area's activity. And the area is the entire country, because anywhere that you are, they can make these requests. Do a stream on Diddy's NDAs? Should I invite Avi back on? AV to the 7th power? She's cool. But yeah, the government can never be trusted with this power. They always abuse it. That's why it's in the Constitution to not let them have it. But here you go. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to read the remaining YouTube super chats. We're going to flip over to Rumble. We'll continue on. We have the UBI propaganda and Project Veritas. Probably some more drinking because it makes people so happy when I do it. So we'll do that. And then we'll just keep going for a little while. And then we'll probably end up Matthew Perrying in a hot tub, which should make people happy. Finally. That's a good way to go out, right? Oh my gosh. So guys, I gotta do the gay thing with you. So speaking of Google, I have Google Premium or whatever, because like it used to be YouTube Red, but it's Google Premium and I get access to Google Music and stuff. So I use that a lot, and it algorithmically determines what songs I'm going to like. It's almost always wrong. But this song came on the other day in the middle of everything else, and it's been my jam for the past couple days. And I know that some people are going to call it gay, and it's like, look, just because I have sex with men doesn't make me that gay. But it's the song is Kerosene by Tyler Posey. And it's it's a fucking banger. And I mean, like, melodically very interesting. It's cool. It makes me want to do musical anal ices. But I really like it. If you there's like this modern pop punk genre. Like it reminds me of 90s pop punk. Like the sort of Blink 182, Sugar Ray, not quite to Pennywise type stuff that I used to listen to a lot in the 90s and early 2000s. Me first in the Gimme Gimmes, maybe. And it's reminiscent of that shit in the, and I like that. I like that genre. It's a good song. It's a good song. Sounds fucking terrible. Yeah, a lot of people are not going to like it, but that's cool. That's fine. I like it. It's great. I've been listening to it a lot, which is weird, but caught me, man. It caught me. Grabbed me right by the penis hole. Timothy Torgan says Turtle Boy's bail revoked today. 90 days for witness intimidation. His bail was revoked? Did he have a violation? His bail was revoked 90 days. I'll have to check out what the fuck was up with that. Wait, the Green Skull says I'm the official artist for Me First and the Gimme Gimmes? Like you did their album art and shit? Really? That's cool. If that's true, please tell them I always like them. And I saw them at Warped Tour in Somerset, Wisconsin. Had to be 1999 or 2000. And the guy was wearing, of course I respect him because he was wearing short shorts or something. He's wearing short shorts, the lead singer. And he pulled them up over his shoulders like a mankini. Like he gave himself an atomic wedgie and locked that shit in over his shoulders while he performed a song. And it's like, you got to respect that. You got to fucking respect that. So, cool. Ben 31 UK. Okay, brother, I'll stop right now just for you. You don't need to respect that? Damn. Why would you want to give yourself an atomic wedgie? Oh, guys, should we, there's a great news story. There's a fucking great story the other day. A stepson and a stepdad got into a fight because the stepdad was about to divorce the stepson's mom, which means he's at least the second father figure to bail on him in his life. So maybe he's the problem. I don't know. But the stepson kicks his ass. He fucking just beats the shit out of him, right? And then what's he do? He goes for the humiliation round. And he grabs stepdad's fucking underwear, right? And he wedgies him all the way. He wedgies him all the way and takes the waistband of the underwear and he pulls it over the guy's head like a fucking burqa. And then the waistband catches under his chin. And it strangles him and he fucking dies from an atomic wedgie. Imagine that. Imagine that. You're like, well, me and the old lady are going to get divorced. And son-in-law's like, or stepson's like, you're a piece of shit, stepdad. And they start fighting. And then you get beat up by your stepson and you get wedgied and then you die from it. What the hell is that? How do you fucking kill a guy with a wedgie? Shit. Oh. Wow. Anyway, that's to close out the YouTube stream. Well, wait, we got a couple more of the super chats still. But I saw that story the other day and I was like, God, that's fucking brutal. That's like if wedgies were from Game of Thrones. Rochester Cycle Can says Turtle Boy had his bond revoked today over demonstrably false domestic violence accusation. He's in jail for the next 90 days max. Next court date is January 25th. Fuck. Wonder if I can get a hold of him in jail. Kim Ben says, I spent my first Christmas in 18 years without my child. That's tough. At 16, I said no to putting him on estrogen because I didn't want to sterilize and mutilate my child's body. I hope he understands one day. He will. He will. Even if he ultimately makes a decision to transition now that he's 18, even if he makes that decision, he'll understand. Bizarb says, greetings from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, sitting in the Edgewater Hotel, sipping on Jameson on the rocks. God bless. Happy New Year's. Hey, Happy New Year's to you, Bizarb. One criticism of that, you're in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, sipping on an Irish whiskey. Holy fuck, guys. So I'm at dinner. I'm at dinner yesterday, right? I'm at dinner yesterday, and our server had they had a tattoo. She had a tattoo of a potato. Dude, like there's something involving a potato. I can't quite remember because who cares? But I was like, you have a tattoo of a potato on you? I said, what are you, Irish? She says, no. Why? I said, are you Ukrainian? She says, well, yeah, my family comes from Ukraine. I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. And she just looked at me quizzically, and I was serenely happy for just a moment. Joe says Colorado SC is gay. Period. Fuck them. Happy Merry New Year. Oh, the Colorado Supreme Court. Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good. Ed W says Google is ending access to geofence data because they don't want it used to catch vote ballot mules. I don't care what they want. They need to end access to the data. Ramster Jim says, you know that she got the tattoo, right? Yeah, I know. It's in her blood to be deprived of potatoes so much that she needs to ink one onto her skin. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, here we go. Squid says it couldn't be that trust in Google has been waning. Keeping storage services expensive on a global scale. Google is definitely being altruistic. I don't care. This is the thing. I don't care if they're being altruistic. They're right. Like they're right. They need to end this shit. That's what needs to happen. The reasons why a company does something doesn't mean it's bad for us. It doesn't mean you have to respect the company's decision. Google being a bro on the Fourth Amendment doesn't make Google less evil. It just means they did the right thing on the Fourth Amendment. That's all. And we can rejoice in that. We can rejoice in that. Hold on. All right. So I just had to say goodnight to Lady Raggeds. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Brandon says, I got an hour or so. Drink up. Let's finish tonight together. I always like to finish together with you. Let's go. Drink, and everyone remind Nick to drink at the end of your message. Oh, my God. Let's go, Brandon, to you, brother. Cheers. Better come over to Rumble if you want to be with me for an hour, buddy. But I'll charge you extra. All right, here we go. With that, guys, we are going to Rumble right now. We're going to Rumble. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. If you want to join us on Rumble, it's in the video description. It's also in the pinned comment. We'll continue the show over there for another hour and a half or so, a little bit more. And we'll be there again. Guys, there may be a change in format sometime soon. I will let you all know. We may be doing the whole show, the whole live stream on Rumble in the future, rather than doing the flip thing, for the night show. For like trials and stuff, it'll probably be different. But for the night show, we may be doing the whole thing over on Rumble. I'll be talking about that as soon as I know kind of the answers to that and how that'll work. In the meanwhile, if you haven't checked out Rumble in a bit, come check it out. They are constantly making improvements. They're constantly under attack because they're one of the only threats to the sort of stranglehold of the big tech conglomerates. So come give them some support. Help them become the voice of freedom on the internet, and the voice and the place that brings you the the people you want to see, which is not me. Like, you incidentally see me because no one else is stupid enough to stream in this time slot. But other than me, there's good people on there. All right, guys, I'll see you over on Rumble. 25 seconds. Catch you then. Peace. Peace.